Make an aggressive stance towards what you like, towards goodness, towards things you're wanting to absolutely manifest or put in front of you or live like. If you don't like the thought or the words of manifestation, then don't use them. What can be used and what is a very viral, amazing approach to life is to focus on goodness. Hey everybody, Jeff here. Before we get started, if you're getting value from the podcast, please take a moment to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For those of you listening on podcast apps, don't forget to rate and review. Your support really helps the show reach more people, and for that, I am truly grateful. Now let's dive in.
Welcome to the Point with Jeff Spikes.
Hello, and welcome to The Point. What a pleasure and joy it is to be here. Get your hydration. If you need a snack, get a snack. If you're driving, take a deep breath, relax, focus on the road and being safe. Listen in. If you're on YouTube watching this, getting work done, keeping this on in the background, anything else, trust your unconscious self. Trust your unconscious mind. Trust all that's in you, that you will capture and absorb everything that you need to move forward powerfully, effectively, and with ease and effortlessness. As you listen to The Point here and consider your greatest strengths in the quantum field and what that is like when you are fully moving towards your design for living, or the greater design for you that you're falling yourself into. So today we're taking a real positive approach to talk about goodness being contagious, and it is winning. Like, goodness is winning. Now, I'm going to handle any objections up front that this could be a little foo-fooey or airy-fairy, Pollyannish, or that we're not really paying attention to other things. But let me tell you what I see in the world. Let me be clear about what I'm seeing in the world. There's way too much focus on what isn't working and on what's negative and what we don't like. And the way to turn that around is to make an aggressive stance towards what you like, towards goodness, towards things you're wanting to absolutely manifest or put in front of you or live like. If you don't like the thought or the words of manifestation, then don't use them. What can be used and what is a very viral, amazing approach to life is to focus on goodness. And what does that mean? I have some great examples. Look up the podcast from my dear friends, Daryl and Ed, and look at the history of their podcast, The Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed. And they focus on goodness, greatness, love, enduring, wonderful power. They make fun of themselves and how we respond as humans. The funniest, some people might call this one corny, but it was so perfect for the moment. And they just did a basic meditation. Making fun of ourselves can be healthy because it's goodness, to have fun and to be lighthearted. And they did a whole meditation using ketchup and mustard as the key words. What kind of fun can you have in the world? What kind of goodness is there? It's a winning attitude. It's a winning thought, and it's not to be taken lightly. It's similar to gratitude, and gratitude is in goodness, right? We tend to take it for granted and not really spend time focusing on it. And what you want, what you focus on will grow. So if you want goodness, focus on it. So, truth bomb. Darkness, ugliness, grossness is loud. It sells. It is bold, right? What is selling in the movies? What is selling on TV? It's very clear. It is loud. Now, stories are better when they come from this place of struggle and of what we've come through. It's more captivating. It's more gripping, right? It's absolutely loud. It is prominent. It is in your face. It is right there, and it's okay to look at. There's nothing wrong with it. Let's not make this a thing of judgment or shame or anything else. Let's keep this just as a thought of what we tend to focus on. And darkness has its bold forefront shown to us at every turn. Whatever it is that you consider darkness, right? Whatever it is that you consider to be outlandish or ugly, right? Think about that. So, on the opposite side of that, light, it just spreads. It is. You know, you turn on a light, you add light to something, and what happens? It immediately illuminates everything. It creates shadows. It creates varying degrees of light depending on what's in its way. It's immediate. It clarifies. It allows us to see better. It's no different in a more thought-provoking way than it is in a physical way with our eyes. So it spreads. So light in the way of energy, in the way of kindness, in the way of goodness, right? It's quieter, but it's relentless. And once it starts, it can't be stopped. That's clear. Once you get momentum with goodness, you can't be stopped. It's amazing to see things happen. How many of you, just think about this. You absolutely have had an experience or you remember something where in the pay it forward realm, you pay something forward and then it gets multiplied threefold. There was a 2018 study. Researchers found that one act of kindness inspires at least 3 more acts from observers. It multiplies like a chain reaction, right? That was the University of California in Riverside. So an act of kindness inspires at least 3 more from observers. So that, imagine that exponentially growing. Let's say you get an act of kindness to someone and they're going to add 3 more to that and that's 3 times. And then they're adding 3. I'm not the mathematician that's going to figure out how positive that becomes. But if you want a really emotional movie or emotional thought of it, look up Pay It Forward and check that out and see what that's all about. You don't even have to watch the movie. Just look it up and start thinking about what is Pay It Forward. Better yet, make it personal and pick a thing in your life where you've paid it forward. And just know how that is exponentially grown. If we all do that, imagine what happens, right? Positive content spreads more than negative. Now, I already hear you challenging that. Whoever, you can challenge that all day long, but here's the delineation of this. When it's real, okay? Positive content, when it's authentic, when it's real, spreads more than negative. Emotional, authentic posts, especially those about hope, gratitude, and personal triumph, generate more shares and engagement than negative content over time. That the source of that is NYU and MIT study on Twitter. Hope, gratitude, and personal triumph. Authentic, real posts about that, the goodness, the positive, gets more engagement over time than negative. Witnessing goodness lifts your own biology. The chemistry in your body changes watching someone help another person. It increases oxytocin, which is that connection hormone, right? The one that and it's a feel good, right? And it decreases cortisol, which is the stress hormone. So oxytocin goes up and the stress hormone cortisol goes down. Now that study was Dr. David Hamilton, The 5 Side Effects of Kindness. Okay, so take a deep breath. Get into a centered place of thought around goodness. And for a moment, notice, let's just say it's true for a minute, that there's been a training that's happened. You've been trained. I've been trained. We've been trained to think outrage is the only thing that goes viral. Catching someone in the act of something nefarious we've been trained to think that that's the only thing that gets attention. The news has, mostly reporting on atrocities. So just think for a minute about how you've been trained, how there's been an energy of that. What is the measure of that in your mind? What is the measure of that? And then enter goodness. All right. Goodness spreads too. Goodness exponentially grows and increases and benefits. It sticks longer. It may not have the immediate, upfront, intense impact. And in this society where everything seems to be at your fingertips, it lasts longer. It sticks around. It wins in the test of time. It heals instead of divides. It's giving people kindness, gives you hope and gives other people hope. Witnessing kindness brings hope into the world. It connects instead of cancels. So in the midst of all of this training, in the midst of all of this media and all of these touch points where we're seeing things that are in an extreme of reaction, things that give us a reaction that seem to be getting all of the attention, take a deep breath and consider, what does that mean for you? Look in the mirror on this one. How much energy of goodness, how many acts of kindness, how many thoughts of kindness will it take to counter those immediate flares of all the other things that are getting your attention? Half of that energy would win. So imagine if you met it. Imagine if you met the energy one for one, how quickly that would go. In the 1980s, I was a part of a group that were studying we were loosely studying. This wasn't a university study or well-documented study based on anything other than a group of people wanting to improve and study how our minds work. And we were looking at this way of countering negative thought. And there was a study at the time that said it took 10 affirmations to reverse a negative thought, because negative thoughts have such a powerful impact in our minds. So the way to overcome a self-deprecating negative belief or negative thought that you have for yourself, the idea was take an affirmation that's the exact opposite and repeat it 10 times in the first person, and repeat it 10 times to reverse any potential effects of it happening. And we realized very quickly that you could be spending most of your life using the reverse affirmations. And over time, affirmations kind of got a bad rap of not being that useful or productive or helpful. I'd say that's true. They're not the most powerful tool to use, but they were powerful and it worked. So it's not that it didn't work. It's that, are there more effective ways, better ways today? And certainly gratitude is one of those. Expressing acts of kindness is another. Depending on your processing style, repeating an affirmation to yourself inside your mind might be just fine. But if your processing style is more verbal, it might be better for you to say it out loud. If you're kinesthetic, it might be better if you were walking down the street or sweeping the floor or cleaning or doing something else that's moving your body, maybe doing some training and using affirmations. So all of these things begin to help you use positive, and that can start to also change your biology. It can also change your physiology. In quantum strengths, we've developed what we call base repeatables, which is an affirmation with a turbo boost, right? Because a base repeatable is extremely simple in that it speaks to the foundational baseline of results you're looking for holistically across the board, that you're going to improve and you're going to optimize everything you can and allow it to stay optimized, relaxing it from its optimal, and then continually. So relaxing it creates that new baseline that's higher than it was before. The concept of what this idea of having to juggle everything. It's just consistently moving things forward. creating a new baseline of comfort, belief, thought, behavior, identity, everything else, and then going to the next. So base repeatables support that. It benefits and creates this foundational strength, as well as takes into consideration the highest overarching goal or vision you have. It speaks to both and brings it all together into a statement of being that can be utilized while working yourself towards a goal. Now, that can be true with a 2 or 3 lifetime goal or a lifetime goal. If your focus is to impact generations, right? It would factor that. If you're looking to make a 5-week goal happen, you do it within that framework. Either way, it works. And once you learn it in a smaller time frame, it immediately works in the larger. It takes a little bit more effort than just reversing a negative statement, but doing that mental work, doing that positive work of focusing in on something you want and creating a base repeatable has been proven to have exponential results of creating more energy towards getting the results you're looking for out of life. You know, this idea that, oh, I've tried everything I can to make this. You might be, if you're thinking of it in a vortex, if you're thinking of it in this way of thinking where there's silos is a big conversation in the corporate world. The truth is we have silos within our own beliefs. I'm only focusing on money today. I'm going to make sure that I get my finances in order, and I'm working on business today. Well, I'm going to focus over here now on family and love and fitness. I got to get my fitness in. Wait, mental wellness. I got to rest. I'm going to take a day at the spa, or I'm going to get whatever, right? We have all of these things, right? And hobbies now come in. we can have these buckets that we're running as silos. Part of the idea of getting rid of silos in companies is to get rid of them in yourself first and begin to get out of the work-life balance world and get into life balance. And life includes whatever it is that you do that you call work. And maybe you don't even call it work anymore because you're changing how you consider these things in your life and what these words mean to you. Talking about goodness and how it affects things, it really takes it out of a realm of being something that is too simple to think about or unreachable and really puts it in impact. What are the plans you have to express goodness? Let's bring it up from the week before and bring in gratitude and goodness. What are these specific plans you have to activate gratitude and goodness into your life? Is that part of your daily routine to look at what you did in that realm that day and what you look forward to doing more of tomorrow? Gratitude opens the door. Kindness walks in. And joy throws a party. So take that to heart as you use this call to action. There's actually a call to action this week for you. You want to make something viral. You know, we were talking about content. Step out of content or step into content is not necessarily the point of what we're saying here. The call to action is do something good this week quietly. Do something good within a week of you hearing and listening to this podcast or this clip. Okay? Do something good quietly, unexpectedly. Record how it made you feel. Write it down, do something. Record how it made you feel. Post it if you want. This isn't about posting, but post it if you want or don't. But just make sure you pass it on. That's how light spreads. That's how goodness grows. Do something good, quietly and unexpectedly. Record how it made you feel. And find a way to share that. Make it an expression of goodness. And share it with the world. If you're already doing a gratitude journal of sorts, if you're doing some type of list within your daily routine around gratitude, it's just add something of goodness in it. It's a way to keep it in the forefront. Make it yours. Make it intentional. Because otherwise you end up doing something else. When you end up doing something other than what you intend, it's never what you want. Run after life, run after love, run after happiness and joy. Use goodness and gratitude as your main tools and resources. And let's see how good it can be. That is the point today. Have a beautiful, wonderful week. We'll see you next time.
The show about achieving goals.
Thank you for joining us for another amazing episode of The Point with me, Jeff Spikes. Please visit jeffspikes.com for everything you would need to know to engage with me offline. And lastly, thank you for your time, your attention, and your consideration. This is The Point.